Hello, Vernon.
Hey, how you doing today?
Yeah, good. How about you?
I'm doing well. I can't really complain. Um,
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the timing for this conversation. What do you want to talk about our coaching session?
yeah, so I'm thinking about starting my own firm, and I'm just really thinking about different strategies and ways I could go about getting my first client.
Okay. So that's your plan to get your first client
Yeah,
in 1 week, let's say.
yeah, within 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. So how's your scope of business?
So I'm a strategy, branding, and marketing consultant. I do freelance work with startups, more specifically small businesses, about one to I'd say about 50 employees. I really focus in a niche market of the cannabis industry here in Massachusetts, and I have previous experiences within the consulting and development of the regulations here in Massachusetts when it comes to the cannabis industry too. So I can also assist in strategizing your licensing and privileging and regulations format too.
Okay, so how's your customer profile in your mind?
So my customer profile would be a small business owner, probably about 1 to 5 years within their actual establishment. Someone who is looking for guidance or a strategic plan, just because they don't really have focus on how they're going to utilize their MVP, how they're going to brand it, or what demographic they can effectively market to. So mine is helping establishing companies find and develop their both their brand and their customers, their customer demographic.
Okay, any kind of industry focus?
Yeah, it'll be in the cannabis industry, more specifically. Although I'm not limiting myself to what industry they're going to be in, though.
Yeah, like what? What kind of industry? You're confident to be consulting or strategy partners?
Yeah, so it's probably just going to be in branding and development consultant, things around that nature. Is that what you mean by industry?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of industry of your company you're targeting with?
Oh, so like I said, it's going to be targeted to small cannabis industries, probably even dispensaries. I'm also working right now to procure a client who is a agricultural technology developer, and she's trying to utilize her MVP to position it out to the cannabis industry as well. So I'm trying to, work and get that proposal off the ground and hopefully be able to get that client within the next week.
Okay, you have this visualize the industry and the size. You said how big you mentioned the small business. The size. Tell me more about the
Yeah, so
size.
it'll be hopefully I can reach out to small businesses. Like I said, about 1 to 50 employees within the first 1 to 5 years of their development. Pretty much the early stages where they're still trying to figure out, get traction. They're still brainstorming on like who they can market to, what would be the most effective verticals and sectors to go into, and then like how can they utilize their resources in an effective way to get these plans off the ground.
Okay. Who have you been already touched with or talked with as a potential customer?
Yeah, so I'm currently in talks with a company called Trella, who is developing a horizontal plant training system that help cannabis growers actually stack up their plants on top of one another to assist in the limitations that spacing may cause due to how tall these plants may grow. And as of right now, I've already sent out my proposal to them, and hopefully they'll be reaching back within a few to let me know their final decision.
Sounds very good progressing. But let me double check your goal. You said you want one customer within 1 week, but
Hmm.
sounds like you have a potential leads to talking to. So can we make sure that the one customer means one deal to be signed?
Yes, one deal to be signed.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, okay. So what else leads are you on hands to work on besides this company name? Tell me again the name.
Uh, Trella.
Drella? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, besides Drella, any other solid leads are working on?
No solid leads as of right now. I'm currently working with my internship is going to have me on full time as a freelance strategist for them. So effectively, I do have one client technically, which was my former internship. Um, but I'm not necessarily counting that one since that was part of my internship. I'm counting it as like new clients and acquisitions. But I have worked with this current organization for about a year as of right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds very good. You have still a lot of time to work with them and to show your credibility and also build up the potential relationship. Um, Talking about your goal of sign contracts for this promising Drala case, what else you need to do to secure the whole working partnership?
Well, I don't know what else I can do. Maybe give a follow up, see if there's any questions or concerns that they may have. They said that they were reviewing a few other consultants as well.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm not necessarily sure as of right now if this is just a waiting game or if I should go ahead and try and like reach out to more clients. Well, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to more clients regardless, but trying to figure out what clients that may be. I don't know if I should do that or just wait, see what's going on right now, and then try and focus out. I'm not too sure where to go from here. So.
Okay, what do you have done with them for the process? Just to do the pitch, or what else you've already done with them?
Yeah, so I actually had two phone calls with the founder of the organization. We talked for about an hour and a half about their current goals, what they're thinking about, what strategies they've already utilized, and what they're trying to plan for the future, as well as like their current like limitations and everything. And
Mhm.
so from there, I drew up a small little plan of what I believe is a good course of action, the current deliverables and time frames in which I estimate this to be in, and then like a brief demo about me and my credibility, like the work that I've done before, and like the tasks that I've been working on as well. But then outside of that, I also sent them a couple of writing samples and previous strategies that I've done, both within my graduate career and for my other organization. So hopefully that'll be of use as like a portfolio of sorts for them to utilize.
Sounds like your first meeting phone call with them is understanding their current situation and their expectation to the whole project.
Yes.
And tell me more about the second meeting.
Yeah, and so the second meeting was just confirming over what was discussed in the first meeting, getting a little bit more insight as to not just what their current plan is, but how they're developing their plans, the insights on like what are their team makeup, how they're utilizing their current teams and the spacings. A lot of the people that work for this company work remote, so like that dictates a different type of strategy than if everybody was in a home base, as well like the different type of verticals in which they can go into while they're trying to focus in on like the cannabis market, maybe even like figuring out like a horizontal shift in the market from like cannabis education to like different entrepreneurs to home growers. And so we were brainstorming more so like a different strategy for that, kind of like discussing like what they're looking for in terms of like a strategy or development to plan. More so just kind of getting the nitty gritty out the way when I'm formulating my proposal to them.
Okay, sounds it's kind of a reflection meeting according to their first brief introduction. In
Hmm.
meeting, you go through the whole brainstorming session with your understanding, and you propose the sum of the options, like
Mm-hmm.
the blueprint or the future possible strategies, and
Yes.
also brand cannibalization possibilities and kind of pros and cons. You just help them to review this. But seems still you have any further meetings scheduled already, or just the two happen?
No, that was just the two. I'm supposed to hear back from them on Thursday. Well, sometime today or Thursday. So I don't really know the form protocol as a consultant if I can like email them the day that they said that they were going to ask, or if I should wait until Friday. I'm not necessarily certain. I don't know the etiquettes of all of this. I'm new to the game. Um,
You what's in your mind is the most functional or most usable way for the next approach?
Well, I'm also want to just kind of like double check if they have like any questions or concerns that I can alleviate because they did say that they had other meetings with other consultants. So if they're thinking about, which one to go for, and I can, alleviate any concerns or fears they may have about choosing me over the other target, I like to be able to, smooth that out with
But do you think it's
them.
already a time for a customer who decide which vendor they would go, like, only after these two meetings?
Well, this is what they were telling me, that they were going to make the decision within the week on who they were going through, just because they want to get the ball rolling for their upcoming years.
Okay, but before they give you further notice, what else you can do to increase your winning chance?
I guess I can draw up a quick like SWOT analysis, or even like a market analysis of like what I can forecast they're doing, and like the different areas in which they can expand. Just as like here's an added, thing to showcase like the work that I can do for you, as opposed to like some other consultants.
Okay, what else do you think you can do?
Um I don't know. Outside of like maybe reaching back to them via email or maybe a phone call, just double checking with them. I'm not sure what else I can do when it comes to like that follow up.
Can we have a like brainstorming about you with your wife or fiance at the time you proposed to her?
Hmm.
If done to make her decide or the final answer before that, you have this similar moment before? You
Mm,
know what's in her mind and you don't know what to do, you're just waiting, or you did something to.
I probably did something.
Mhm.
Yeah, because and that's probably what I'm going to do too, is just give them a phone call over, or maybe even a simple email just saying, hey, I just wanted to follow up, see how everything is going. Do you have any concerns or anything? And then from there, maybe even do that SWOT analysis I was talking about, just to have something to add if when they give me the phone call or email back.
Okay, so sounds like a strategy, right? To follow up phone call, email. Let's keep this option open. And
Mhm.
you have any contacts in the organization who the decision power in this organization who you contact with?
Yeah, I've been speaking directly to the founder of the organization. So that's the person who I've been having the meetings with and emailing back and forth with. So I'm in direct contact with the person who will be, I guess, footing the bill for all of this.
Okay, and you know any specific criteria? It's he, right?
She.
She, okay, she will moving forward to decide one vendor to work with. She talked
Um,
this with you, or you've understood?
yeah, so it's more so about availability and pricing. as well as experience. Because she's trying to go into the cannabis industry, not many people have that much experience in that kind of niche area. But since I've been working for about a year within the industry here in Massachusetts, that's 2 years old. I'm pretty experienced, especially since I'm working with the people who are actually making the regulations. I think I'm a little bit more experienced than most of the other consultants, at least in the area of the cannabis industry.
Okay, that's your thinking. You think the founder also agree on this opinion about your experience?
I'm not sure. Just because the founder knew me from my internship with the other organization. So she does know that I'm a master's degree student and I am graduating soon. And that this would be like my first like legitimate client. So she did give me the opportunity to go over and send over her the portfolio. And she actually reached out to me when she saw that I had my consulting firm on the rise on LinkedIn. So that does show a good sign that at least she does trust me and the credibility of the work that I've been doing with my other organization to at least give me the option or chance to work with her.
Good. And before your two meetings with her, anything changed, you think? Before the meeting, impression, and after the meeting, her impression to you, to your further cooperation?
Well, the second meeting was supposed to only be 30 minutes and it ran an hour and a half. And it was just us brainstorming ideas going back and forth between like, what has she tried and why does that fail and like what may alleviate those different symptoms, and then figuring out like what demographic she's reached out to, why she's reached out to them, can they actually pay for those things? And I think that really got her like kind of interested in like what I can do for them as like a strategy consultant.
Mm-hmm. I see. So you think before or after your pitch? Um,
Uh, I think before my pitch, she was like, she was trying to see like how good I would be as a consultant, but then afterwards, I feel like she was more comfortable with what I can produce as like a full-time strategy consultant.
what makes you think so? What
Uh,
did after your second meeting? What she say? What she?
I
Um,
guess it was the body language. It was like a lot of like good gesturing, smiling, nodding, a lot of, that's a good idea. A lot of, I didn't think of that, or maybe we should try that, or, maybe we should do something like that. So like the words and feedback that she was giving or expressing to me throughout the conversation was really giving me those type of sentiments and knowing that.
okay, sounds good. The whole progress. Then, are you feel comfortable to give a further follow-up email or phone call to check out what's the next activities you need to put on? Like,
Yeah, I think I do feel comfortable enough to do that. I think I can go ahead and do that sometime, like within, I guess, once we get done with this meeting, I can go ahead and try and reach out to them, see what's going on, and see how I can alleviate any concerns they may be having.
okay, so say if it's going well, it will be for you to further work with them. But how about this? After this phone call, some negative feedback coming to, what you will do?
If there was some negative feedback, I'll just ask, how could I have improved my pitch? Just asking them like simple, inquisitive questions like, what would make you choose the other consultant? If they're willing to give that feedback, that'd be very informative for me in improving my next client. And then just going out there and trying to funnel out and figure out who will make for good leads and clients in my organization.
Okay, sounds great. So it's very clear that within today, you will send this email.
hmm
And how about tomorrow to send after this follow up this email, you give a phone call to the founder. And let's see what's the feedback. And if the feedback is not that positive, you will do the further efforts like asking for your improvement area to directly check with them. If it's going well, you just do your polished proposal for the next step, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like this one is quite promising as you're within 1 week sign one customer. But how about this doesn't work? Finally, you've been turned down. What else you need to work on for the leads or for other opportunities?
Probably developing a little bit of my web page and my company's like LinkedIn page to try and boost awareness of my company. And then reaching out to like within my own network of people I know developing their own companies and trying to see if they may need a strategy of sorts.
Okay, we can open another dialogue regarding that, other alternatives besides this opportunity you're already chasing for. Is it okay for you?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty much what we've discussed about for today's objective.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, no problem. I hope you have one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Can we stop recording? Hello? Hello?
Sorry, yeah. I'll give
Yeah,
feedback.
you mute yourself. Yeah, feedback.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think you started out really well, in the beginning. Well, actually, the first sentence you said to him, you like asked him how he is and you know how he's doing, and he just started talking, and then you kind of almost like interrupted him a bit and said, you know, maybe you want to elaborate or asked him another question. And I think maybe in that moment he felt a bit cut off because it was like the first time that he started speaking in your conversation. And maybe I think, yeah, that made him, you know, feel a little bit cut off. So maybe just better to wait. Is there anything else that's coming, you know, I think it's important just to give the person opportunity to like come in, you know, feel comfortable. Like it felt a little bit rushed in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know that.
Yeah, it's really, I don't want to be like last time. It's too big videos.
Yeah, I know you also want to get to the point and be efficient. So that's good. But like, yeah, perhaps just the first time he speaks, just really let him finish. See what you get from him. Also, maybe, you know, how he's feeling or something like that.
Yeah, message received.
All right. Then I thought after that, everything went really well. Okay, so you asked him the question about the customer profile. I think that was a very effective question, very open question. You kind of established the reality, and at the same time, you formed the goal of finding one customer within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And you actually, you know, you made him specify like one customer in 1 to 2 weeks. That was very good. So you already had your goal set. You also asked him about the industry. That was good. You did repeat that question 2 to 3 times because I think, I'm not sure if you understood yet that it was the cannabis industry. I'm not sure if it was like an understanding thing or whether, but you know, you did repeat that question a few times. So I think perhaps he felt like he was repeating himself a bit there. Then the next question, who have you been in touch with? That was a very good reality question, very open. It really let him think and, you know, elaborate, and he really got into it. He got very into the whole conversation he's had with this woman and how it went. And then what you did after going into reality, you kind of went back to the goal. You double-checked the goal, which I believe is very effective on the coachee's part. You kind of double check like, okay, just to be sure, the goal is to have one deal signed, right? And he said, yes, one deal to be signed. So you reaffirmed the goal. I think out of the coachee's perspective, that really put him into action. You determined this clearly and narrowed down as well. That was good. Then when you talked about the Trello company again, you asked him about the name again to like clarify that you got it right. I believe that this shows the coachee that you're really listening to what he's saying. So I think that was a good summarization at that point. Generally, I felt that your summarizations were very effective and very strong, and really gave the coachee the feeling that you were listening well and really thinking about, you know, how you can help him effectively. Like you said, what else do you need to do to secure this partnership? And then you both went into more detail on that. So I think this was very effective for the coachee. You also said you asked more. You said, tell me more about the second meeting. Are further meetings scheduled? What is the next step after these meetings? All extremely open and focused questions that I believe really help the coachee establish like a personal action plan and, you know, kind of structure like what has happened until now, where is he standing at with this client. So I think this was very effective. And I feel that the coachee really got into talking a lot about the last meeting. He gave like a full recap, which probably also clarified things for him, for you, Vernon. I'm not sure if I'm right, but it felt like you were kind of going through everything again, and it also felt that it gave you motivation. You like really got into talking. You sounded very enthusiastic. So I felt that you were extremely motivated to get this client going, to get, you know, to get moving to more. You asked, when you asked the questions, are further meetings scheduled? That's a good question, but it's closed question. So just as a little, like, you know, suggestion, maybe if you asked, what is the next step after this meeting, or what is the next step for a further meeting, then maybe it would have been more open. You also said, what else can you do to increase your winning chances? I thought that was an extremely effective question, and Vernon got into a lot of what he can do, like the SWOT analysis. So I think that was quite effective for him to think about what he can do. You made the connection to the fiancé. At first, I felt that it was kind of jumping from business to private. And I was like, that's a bit out of context. But then when the coachee went into how he can treat this situation similar, I understood why you asked the question. And I actually thought it worked really well because it let the coachee think about what he can do out of the customer's perspective. And he got more empathetic. Like I felt like he was like, oh yeah, how would the customer or the client want me to act in this case? And then he became a bit more soft, and he went like, oh yeah, maybe I should write an email, do a follow-up. Yeah. So I think that was actually very effective in the end. You also asked, what did she do to show you it went well? I think this is also a very detailed and very good open question, because it really brought back the situation to life for the coachee, and he really went through it. You asked about, if there's negative feedback, what would you do? I think this is a really good question, because it just brings, you know, the coachee back to reality, and like, you know, kind of thinking of the worst case scenario, or you know, what could you do better? Like what would one do if there were not failure, but, you know, if there were like a setback? I think this is a good question. I'm not sure if it's necessary in this case, because he was talking about how well it went. But I guess it made him aware, and I felt that it definitely gave him to think. The thing is, though, then you said it again in the end, and that was a bit of a shame, because I felt that like addressing that once is good enough, and then you said it again towards the end and kind of finished on a bit of a negative note, because in the very end you said, okay, so again, if the feedback isn't positive, then you said, this sounds quite promising, but what if it's not positive or whatever? And in my opinion, I feel that the coachee shut down a little bit after that, because like bringing up this negative scenario twice in a row maybe created a bit of a, yeah, not a negative atmosphere, but like, you know, maybe it would have been better to end on a more positive note and only bring up the potential bad feedback once, and then concentrate again on, you know, the positive and what went right and what he can do to make it right. But again, you know, it made him think, and it brought him down to the ground, and so I guess, I don't know, Vernon, you have to say how that made you feel. So maybe it was good in that case. Also, when you said in the end he gave, you know, a lot of info, and then you said, okay, this sounds quite promising, but I think it's good, but I think you also maybe have to watch out that you don't sound too evaluating, like you're evaluating his situation. I mean, I'm not sure in this situation how it felt to the coachee, but you know, perhaps some people would feel a bit judged almost, like you're evaluating too much their conversation with the client. So maybe instead of this sounds promising, saying, okay, it sounds like it went well, you know, what else can you do? Like maybe along that line, instead of saying, okay, but what if the feedback you get is negative? So yeah, the only thing I can say is maybe ending on a more positive note and making the last comment or question, again, focusing on the positive. That would have been, I think, better. But apart from that, I think it was an extremely effective coaching. The coachee got into a lot of detail. I think it was very good for him, very effective. And I think you did a really great job. A lot of open questions, very good. Yeah. All right.